I'll never forget the day it all went down. From my porch, coffee in hand, I watched as Linda stood in the middle of Mark's front yard, shouting about neighborhood progress, while a construction crew tore into his lawn like it was nothing but dirt. Mark stood there, fists balled up, jaw tight, looking like he was one wrong move from grabbing a shovel and starting a riot. It wasn't just a spat between neighbors. This was a full-blown war. I usually steer clear of HOA nonsense. My porch, my coffee, my quiet hat's my VYB. But when a bulldozer rumbles through someone's flower beds, you can't help but take notice. Mark had inherited his house from his parents. Nice guy, kept to himself, spent weekends fixing up the place. He'd repainted the shutters himself, and they looked sharp. Linda, though, she was the HOA president, the kind of person who'd measure your grass with a ruler and leave a snarky note if it was a hair too long. She called herself the neighborhood's guiding light, but most of us just called her a pain. It started small. Linda would show up at Mark's door, clipboard in hand, all fake smiles and helpful suggestions. Owning a house can be tough for someone your age, she'd say, her voice dripping with condescension. If you ever think about selling, I know people who'd make you a fair offer. Translation, sell to me, or I'll make your life hell. I overheard one of those talks once, leaning on my rake in the front yard. Mark stayed calm, told her he wasn't selling, and Linda's smile twisted like she'd just bitten into a lemon. You'll regret that, she said, and I swear the air got colder. Then the fine started. Mark's mailbox was stuffed with them every week. $50 for unkempt shrubs. $100 for excessively wet grass after a 3-day downpour. I saw him one rainy afternoon, standing by his mailbox, reading one of those notices. The guy looked like he didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Linda didn't stop there. She started whispering to the neighbors, spreading stories that Mark was a troublemaker, that his parents would have been ashamed of how he let the place go. I got the scoop from Susan, who heard it at book club, who heard it from Linda's yoga pal. You know how gossip spreads. Things hit a boiling point at an HOA meeting. I usually skip those too much chatter, not enough coffee. But Linda was hyping up some big beautification project, so I dragged myself there. She had it all. PowerPoint slides, little flags on sticks, buzzwords like traffic safety and community harmony. Then she unveiled her blueprint, and the room went dead quiet. Her grand plan? A road. Not around Mark's property. Not next to it. Straight through Ithis lawn, his trees, even the spot where his dog loved to dig. Everyone was stunned, but Linda just stood there, grinning like she'd invented sliced bread. Mark raised his hand, voice steady, and asked how any of this was legal. Linda tossed out the word easement like it was a trump card and stared him down. You can't stop progress, she said. I swear, you could have heard a pin drop. That night, I saw Mark sitting on his porch, no lights on, just staring into the dark. I didn't say anything. What could I say? I got in a fine once for painting my door a shade of blue Linda didn't like. What was she going to do to someone standing in the way of her precious road? A week later, the construction crew showed up. Mark told them to get lost, but they just shrugged and said he wasn't the boss. I watched from my porch as they ripped up his yard green grass, turned to mud, trees uprooted. It felt like watching someone burn a family photo album. That's when Mark fought back. He lawyered up, and let me tell you, it was the smartest move he ever made. Linda was Levi-YD. She went full scorched earth, calling the local news, spinning a story about Mark endangering kids by blocking a school access road. The news ate it up, painting Mark as some kind of VY lane. Neighbors started GIVYing him dirty looks, like he was the bad guy. But Mark didn't break. He didn't yell or throw punches. He got quiet, focused, and started digging. And boy, did he find dirt. That easement Linda kept while VYing around? Bogus. The paperwork was doctor dates off, signatures sketchy. Then Mark uncovered something bigger. Linda was funneling HOA money through a fake company, the same one hired to build her road. I ran into him the day he figured it out. He wasn't angry, just laser-focused. I'm taking it all down, neighbor, he told me, his voice steady as steel. Every last piece of it. I believed him. The tide turned fast. An anonymous tip wonder who that was landed in a journalist's inbox. Next thing you know, Linda's face was on the evening news, but not for her community spirit. Headlines screamed, HOA president accused of embezzlement. The neighborhood buzzed. At the next HOA meeting, Mark walked in with a folder so thick it could have knocked someone out. Linda tried to gavel the meeting to order, but Mark strode to the front, flipped open his file, and started reading. Bank transfers, fake fines, ghost employees. The room was electric. When Linda tried to interrupt, someone in the back yelled, "Let him finish." She sank into her chair, face pale. By the end of the night, neighbors were slipping Mark quiet apologies. Susan even brought him a pie. The court shut down Linda's road, ruled it illegal, and ordered her to fix Mark's yard. But Mark wasn't done. He pressed charges of harassment, defamation, trespassing. The state piled on with fraud, tax evasion, and misuse of funds. Linda got slapped with a prison sentence. Mark? He got his land back. He built a tall fence, planted new trees, and put up signs every few feet. No trespassing. HOA members will be prosecuted. One even had the court case number. Savage. When the new HOA president tried to pitch the road idea again, Mark didn't even let him finish. Handed him a cease and desist letter and said, "One step past that gate, and I'm calling my lawyer. I can't tell you how good it feels to sip my coffee now, knowing Linda's clipboard isn't stalking the sidewalks anymore. The HOA's still around, but half the neighborhood's suing for their dues back, and the other half's planting flowers like nothing happened." Mark's back to his quiet life, while VYing as he grabs his mail, but now he's got peace and a fence nobody's crossing. So what would you do if Linda lived next door? Would you fight like Mark, or would you let her steamroll you? Should HOAs even have this much power, or are they just a breeding ground for petty tyrants? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Mark, and subscribe for more stories like this. Let's get this conversation going. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.